Okay, so Babatunde, so it seems that the banks are bouncing back a bit.
Yes, Chris, the banks are bouncing back. The basic news in the market now is that the CBN has refuted the information in the market, the speculation that investors are not banks are not allowed to take banking shares as collateral for loan. I think that speculation really was bad for the market, and with this, with the CBN coming out to say that that is not true and that is unfounded in no way, the banks have bounced back, and today's trading, the banks have supported a 1.45% gain today.
But it seems that despite this bounce back, it seems that EcoBank is still having a bit of a rough time with a pre-tax loss that's widened to $40 million US. How badly did EcoBank shares take it on the markets today?
Yeah, EcoBank released its results in the market today. Its top line, its gross earnings grew 9%, but the bank is still in a loss position, after-tax loss about 4.6 billion naira, which is obviously showing the sort of huge provision those banks had in the year. But this is an improvement from the Q3 numbers, if you look at it, from an after-tax loss of about 8.3 billion in Q3 to about 4.2. I think is an improvement showing that it's been able to rein in some of its costs and also recover some of its bad loans, really. But I think overall it's still a loss position, and it just shows the tough operating environment that banks had to cope with in 2009 financial year.
And speaking about banks, I mean, we've heard in the news earlier that First Bank is restructuring. I understand it'll be restructured into 5 groups under a holding company that'll be floated on the stock exchange. How is the market taking that?
Well, I think market is already, expecting that, really. I think First Bank is the first to come up with its own structure, but I think a lot of other banks are also going to follow suit because this is a new regulation that the CBN is trying to enforce. The new banking model, which is basically moving away from the universal banking model to an holding company structure. But I think there's nothing new for First Bank, really, because basically what the bank is saying is that it's still going to hold a subsidiary, and it's going to comply with the CBN's new rule of having a holding company, having interest in all the subsidiary companies, really. And in doing so, it's going to basically it's going to get an approval to have investment in all the subsidiary from the CBN. So I think, having a banking core business and also subsidiaries in other non-banking areas is just in line with what the CBN is trying to do. And I think CBN is just moving ahead of the market in trying to enforce that.
What other changes do you think we're likely to see in banks as they start to take cognizance of these CBN new rules?
Well, I think the CBN is clear about this. In the next 12 to 18 months, you either see banks spin off, divest from these non-core functions, basically by selling off their subsidiaries. And the reason why the CBN is doing this is just to remove the risk from the core banking business. Not putting depositors' funds as risk. And I think the reason for that is, it's clear, and all banks are just going to gradually shift towards that model. So it's either you divest or go into the holding structure. So I see other banks, just following suit, really. So I don't really see any massive change from this structure, as opposed to just improved risk management practice and corporate governance and structures, in the banking system going forward.
And just finally, also some of the rises on the exchange. I understand that Cadbury Nigeria had a particularly good day.
Well, Cadbury Nigeria has been, having a good day since Cadbury Schweppes basically added new equity into the business, and other shareholder doing his right issue and using that to pay off his debt, really. With that, you've seen Cadbury return back to profitability in its Q1 numbers, I think a lot of analysts received that in good light. In the past, over 2 years, the company has really been in a loss position. So coming back to making a profit is something that has delighted investors. But I think the valuation right now are trading at a significantly rich valuation, and I'm not sure it sort of justifies the sort of earnings potential we have right now, even despite the profit position from Cadbury.